Hello and Allahu Akbar, the Baha'i greeting to all the people of the planet. Tonight, probably the last speech that I have towards the people of the planet, except my home country Canada, which I have to take it a separate project. Time is 11 o'clock and I want to talk about the most beautiful people of the planet. I relate to them a lot, and these are the people of the South America, Central America, and of the Latin descent. Always my friend think that why is it that the United States of America, with so many states and the difference that they had, they actually created a country, and the same thing did not happen among the Hispanics, among the Latinos. And I came up with some answer for myself. I'm going to share it with you. When you look at the two continents, North and South, there are many affinities. They're both of the same race, they're same color, same language, same religion. All the Latin Americas are the same, people are talking the same way, except for Brazil that they speak Portuguese. The rest of the nation speaks all the same language, of same religion, or of Catholic descent. But why didn't they become a united, country of some sort? I found the reason is in the builders of these countries. That's where it lies. And the legacy that they left behind. The English people, they were thinking to expand the empire. Spanish people, mostly they were after expansions of the religion. They wanted to spread Christianity. It was their first priorities. The English people were seriously into the science, and their philosophy was empirical. They separated themselves from the church. Politics had nothing to do with the religion. And the relation with Catholic Church was gone. Whereas the Spanish were serious Catholics, and because of this religion that they had, they were not too much into the science and logics and all that. They were not very much into it. A society that is based on religion is great as long as religion is updated. But if the religions of the past, they're totally like a disease. They are the manna and the food, but their date is expired. Anybody who takes Christianity, or Islam for that matter, spiritual food, their mind go crazy. You know the example of George Bush and Bin Laden. They thought they were staunch, religious, followers. So, what happens among the religious society, religion, is the main thing. People are becoming very selfish. They look toward their benefits, and discovery has really no meaning for them, unless there's money in it and there's treasure in it. That's what the Hispanics were always after. If you look at the transgression that was imposed upon the native people, right from Mexico to the Chile, is not comparable to what happened in the US and Canada. Here people were treated way better, way better. You know what Magellan and others they did. You all know that. So when a mentality is like this, which it was, of the Hispanic background people in the South America, they're not just capable to see the greatest unity, the greater unity that can exist between them, federations. So this is why the continent was divided in many countries, and no federations such as the United States happened. But the Spanish people were much more involved with the native people, and there are a lot of marriages and intermarriages between them. There's a great mix, whereas in North it didn't happen that much at all. Comparatively nothing almost. And the new generation of the Hispanic and native people in South America, they did not have that ground for knowledge. They were not after, but they had a lot of the spiritual power. The people of the South America was very sincere people, very sincere. Always I think of the people like Simon Bolivar, Dr. Che Guevara, Mr. Fidel Castro, Daniel Ortega, Hugo Chavez. I like these leaders. They're sincere, very sincere. Besides the other things that they might do, I'm not approving of everything they say, but essentially their characters is much charismatic and strong, Very brave they are. I'd like to ask Mr. Chavez and Daniel Ortega to think about this, a wider, a bigger, broader picture. Maybe they can propose to the rest of the population in the South America for federations of some sort. I like to call it USSI, the United Countries of the South America. See what happens if you have a unity like this. A lot of things would be better. For example, the control of the drug users and criminality is way better if there's a big federal police, like big federal government. Small government like a country like Ecuador or Peru or Bolivia, they're small countries. They could easily be manipulated by these drug lords. One of them like that, or Escobar. They could easily do anything he wants. But if there was a bigger country, he could never grow in the United States of America. Could never. The second thing is that in the North America, because there's a lot of difference between the people, that creates democracy. I've said before, when people of one nation gather in one area, chances are there's no democracy in them. Because democracy has two agencies. It's not just election, but it's the existence of two opposite power. It has to be. In Canada, there is the greatest democracy of the world because there's Quebecers or French-speaking people in their province, and the rest of Canada speak English. If these two, they have to compromise, then there will be democracy because a lot of them, they have to let go of the dictatorship, a lot of the ideas that are, stubborn ideas. The spirit of compromise will grow when there's difficulties, when there's differences. And this is what happened in North America. It didn't happen in South America because they were all the people of religious background, In U.S., it is impossible to have somebody like Pinochet, the Chilean leader, to grow. Whatever happens in U.S. But in America, South America, in Chile, it can happen. All the states were one, it couldn't happen. So there's a greater chance of democracy. And criminals like Escobar can never come down. Can never form in the United States. They won't allow it. Because the federal police, FBI or CIA are very strong. Criminal as such cannot grow here. But in small countries, yes, they can, very easily. Anyways, there's two period in life of the human being here on the planet. Those who saw the religion is not working, let go, and they became no religion, like North America. And some who are stuck to the religion, like the people in South America. And they had their own problems. But nowadays, though, no religion is causing a lot of problems in the United States too. It's not that you can completely eliminate religion as such. The people in South America, they may not have a great government in great countries, but they do have great individuals. The individual characters of the people in South America are so great. their morality, their sincerity, their spiritual power, their togetherness, family orientation, it totally surpasses the people of the North America by far. If somebody look at this individual character that is so strong and understand what I've talked about Baha'i faith, as I've spoken in this series, a lot of it, you could refer to videos, that has been spoken here. You get an idea. You'll see that Baha'i faith is the only worldwide religion. In a way, it's a spiritual communism, really, because it's looking for that equality between all the people of the earth, spiritually, economically, and so on. It could become a regime, Baha'i faith. It could become an actual regime in the United States here. They're asking me that you're supposed to be religious and spiritual. Why do you defend or even like Dr. Che Guevara? I tell them that, philosophically speaking, when I look at Che Guevara, I see that he's actually the follower of God. In his opinion, God doesn't have a God. So he follows the God, just like God, he doesn't want to have another God either. This is just a philosophical argument. So if you don't believe in God, that doesn't make you really bad. God is an abstract, really. So I tell them that. To me, the spirituality is not these things. It's those bravery. It's that sincerity. It's the service in which Che Guevara was a certified serviceman to the mankind. That served humanity and his country. I think it was from Argentine, but it came down to Cuba. To him, it didn't matter. Where it was needed, he did it. To be a doctor and sacrifice your life, it's big, okay? To God it is. Ideology, wrong belief that you believe there is God or there is no God, that doesn't take you to hell. Not at all. What you do is going to make you to go to hell. He hasn't done anything to go to hell as opposed to the rest of the people. So, I have spoken to you the spirituality in a very language that is scientific. So, if you like to, there's a lot of great theoreticians in South America. Hugo Chavez or Daniel Ortega is just, you hear them, but there's thousands of them behind. You could study this and see that scientific spirituality that is around right now, which really is the continuation and correction and evolution of dialectic of Marx and Engels, really, or with Baha'i faith. So in the Baha'i faith, you could create the new Baha'i governments. We do have the word Baha'i government in the writing. It has to be formulated. What I've done for you, I've reconstructed the Baha'i faith, which is a natural phenomenon, like the mountain and the lakes and the trees inhabitable. I turned it into a building. I used the same material. I created a building, the philosophy, or it is always in these videos. You can hear from A to Z. It's basically scientific. So in there, this gives you an idea to use the policy and the politics and whatever you have to formulate a government, a system that actually you can live under. A system in which economy is not the underlying factor of all the changes, but the need of mankind is. And this need, essential need, can appear on a form of the spiritual starvation of people, as it is right now in Norway, as it is in Japan, as it is in the United States and Canada. These countries have developed economically and socially. They have left out the third dimensions, which is the spiritual values, by which the families are formed. This country, they don't have that. Therefore, the family system is disintegrating and humanity is going down, you see. Because they don't understand. The essential need of man is also to have answer. And to know that there should be love and honesty and everything else. Mr. Ortega would have not had the sincerity that he has and the bravery he has, or so Dr. Che Guevara, unless they had the mom and dad that they had, and they were coming from the spiritual families and where the trust and everything else was there. You can call it Christianity or anything you like, but the source of these spiritual values is coming from Christ and Muhammad and Buddha and Krishna. Ordinary people cannot propose that. They just don't have it. So, a society, a government of the Baha'i is a society in which the essentiality of the needs of mankind, which are spiritual, social, and economical, is all understood well. All the services, such as housing, doctors, medicines, educations, and anything that's essential to economical, social, and spiritual life of people, is not compromising factors. It is a part of the government who's collecting the tax. They have to ensure those things are done. There's a minimum definition for the poverty. It cannot be poorer than that, as it is in Canada right now. That's one of the features of the Baha'i government. In the Baha'i government, the freedom of talk and everything else is absolutely there, but is extended to the point that you cannot do anything that overwhelms the right and the life of others. If you spread sexual magazines or sexual movies or sexual this and that to the children of a young age, you're confusing them. These things may not be available, but they will be in a very, very administrated conditions that is not hurting the young ones, those who do not know this. They're not going to be inculcated into these things. So as alcohol, so as drug. You're not going to, in a Baha'i government, you're not going to advertise alcohol and drug. You will not be able to do it. Those things only can be done if the doctor allows it. Without the prescription from the doctor, one cannot use it. In a Baha'i government, there is no such thing as jail. Jail costs people a lot of money, and when you put a lot of criminals together, the older ones teaching the younger one, and you create a school of the criminalities. In the Baha'i faith, the criminals are dealt with it as a citizen A and B. There is a place always in a country, a city, somewhere, that when people do some crimes, they lose their citizenship to the main country. They would have to go to live there. But they work and they do everything else. They're not living in a condition that they have to finish their terms before they come back. If it's a doctor who is doing that, they don't let him to not to be a doctor. They tell him to be a doctor. But all your money and everything else that you make, it would have to go to your spouse and to your children. You might be a good father, but you are a bad doctor cheating people, or anything like that. So those things will be all considered. Such country is under the spiritual protections of the universal laws of justice and universal laws of guardianship. They're international, protectors spiritually. In this country, there is National Spiritual Assembly, which become National House of Justice, and then there's government. In this system of the Baha'i government, people vote for their spirituality democratically. They're electing their priest in a city and in a country. And the same people also elect their president and their government and their system. And these two systems elected by the same people, they cannot interfere in the life of each other. In Baha'i faith, politics cannot be mixed with their spiritual values. No spiritual authority is elected by people to be the member of the the National House of Justice cannot interfere in the politics, the way this country is run. Their job is different, to make human beings better, happier, families are stronger. They don't have nothing to do with the road and the jungles and the weather as somebody else. But same people elect them. So in this government and country, all the ideologies are free, all the religions are free. They can do whatever they want as far as their religion concerns. Police power is not just the police the way it is right now. They're all psychologists. They're dealing with the conditions of a person who has wavered from the mainstream of society. They kick in their psychological knowledge and background to assess the problem and to deal with people in a professional way. But the way it is right now, the police, as it is everywhere in the world, is nothing but a criminal who is with the society. They do everything exactly the same way a criminal does, from killing to beating to hitting. If you do all of that, industrial psychology tells us this man is a criminal, except he's been told that you're police. But his psyche is like the psyche of a criminal. Therefore, they need a great psychological background for a police getting involved in this thing and killing a person, if it is necessary, does not make him a criminal. It is not right there right now. And the Baha'i government, the society is a live, organic component. They're the type of society. A dead society is like a stone made out of atoms. A live society is like a plant, like an animal, is made out of cell. And the Baha'i government, the country is made out of families. Mother and father to take care of the children. It is so high that motherhood actually will become a job. Government would subsidize the money to the mothers 100% when the child is not going to school, 75% when they start to go to school, 50% is in high school, 25% goes to university. The second child gets 50% of the first one and goes on, because this mother is not just a person to be mother. Society is, the right of unborn is discussed in this government. You cannot bring a child with AIDS, with a fiddle syndrome, because this child gets up tomorrow and asks the questions from us. Why did you allow me to born in that conditions? You see? So people who are wanting to live like this, they would be sterilized unless they take a real route to change. Before they become mother, they would have to be trained what motherhood is. Family would be a very complicated system in which the right of the unborn and the right of the little ones are completely covered, because unconsciously we are hurting them all over the world right now with our civilization. We do not consider the right, so they're not growing up well. Family is the temple, is the womb, just as like the womb. A so clean environment in the womb for the child to come. Germ gets in, child gets sick. Germ cannot get into the family. So, why people such as Mr. Ortega, Chavez, and other philosophers, if they like, they can contact me, sit down and continue the dialectic of Marx and Engels, and you end up to the Baha'i faith. But the Baha'i faith is a natural thing. You have to turn it into make something out of it. That would be what I've done in these videos. But this is only a ground for creations of the policies based on this. Because the time has come for the people in the South America to use their individual spiritual power. That's the highest source that is missing and lacking in countries like the States, Australia, Canada, Japan, and most of the European countries. You have that. This is a very big energy. Based on that, try to advance yourself, understanding the spiritual values, the unity comes out of it. The whole continent will change. You will be the first one to create the Baha'i government in the world. Well, these are a little bit of my thoughts and ideas that I have come for the people of the planet and for you in the continent, you know, of the great individuals, great souls there in South America. May the power of goodness, the truth, the power of Baha'u'llah, the center of the universe, the point of gravity, help you all and help me to continue my mission. Thank you very much.